What's going on, people? It's your boy Clive Belvin. Welcome to the latest episode of The Weigh-In. So in today's episode, we shall be discussing the upcoming fights between David Haye and Tony Bellew. We'll also be covering updates regarding Canelo and Miguel scandal. With me today, boys, introduce yourselves.
Steve in the house.
Got Raymond in the building once again.
What's going on, lads? So yeah, May 5th at the O2, Haye against Bellew. Revenge or repeats? Steve.
I think Haye switched on for this. I think he's gonna turn up.
It's pretty much his last hurrah, right?
So this is his last hurrah. I don't think he's in the business of embarrassing himself. And if he can roll back the years and refine that form, where he sort of knocked out Chisora in 5 rounds.
Yeah.
If he can look like that again, or even a shadow of that, I don't think he even needs to go back that far to beat Bellew, to be honest. Like, he had a sprained ankle last time, wherever he had, and it still went 11 rounds in the previous fight.
But wouldn't you say that he's picked up a lot of injuries, like past few years? But most recently it was a bicep injury, I believe. An accident that took place in training. At 37 years old, wouldn't you say it's worrying signs?
I think in his last fight, the weight was an issue. Yeah. So he weighed in at 16 stone, which is a signal that he really completely overlooked Bellew.
It's that vegan diet, mate.
It's a vegan diet, yeah, exactly, yeah. I don't think he trained for the fight. I think like properly. Shane McGree alluded to it after the fight. He said that David Haye was hard. It was hard work. It was hard to get him to train. He didn't really respect him, and that is what showed. And if you get in the ring undertrained, you'll always lose. Bellew famously works really hard, trains really hard, but now David Haye has felt that embarrassment and the shame of defeat to someone like Bellew, which is a bit of a joke. He sees it as a bit of a joke. I think he's going to train really hard this time. He's going to be switched on. There's no excuses. If he loses this time, Bellew's clearly the better man.
Mate, if Haye
at this stage, at 37 years old,
is what I'm saying. If
Haye
Haye was to lose, retirement surely.
Where are you going to go? What do we want to see? Bellew free? Would you want to see him drop down? And not even if just say Haye ground out a 12-round decision against Bellew. Yeah. What would you be saying?
Do you think he's gonna go for that? Fine. Even to say this now sounds a bit nuts. Do you think he'll still go for the Shannon Briggs fight? Let's still come off, have a fight with someone that he thinks he can come off still looking strong, and just take it as this is my last hurrah. This guy's chatting rubbish. He knows Shannon Briggs. Both of them won't be going for a title, but he also knows that Shannon Briggs can bring in a crowd. He's going to be like, listen, this is my last hurrah.
Jokes aside, I think Briggs is a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
He's going to come out all guns blazing in that first
round. I think, you've seen the size of this guy's head. David Haye would
see the size of his face.
David Haye would just break his hand off that guy's head, and it would be because he's got a chin, that guy. He's got a beast of a chin, and if it turns into a dogfight,
in which it will.
I think.
Have you actually fought yet since his reinvigorated career?
No. And also, did you see those text messages from Tyson Fury to Shannon Briggs?
No. Yeah, I've seen a few. So, it was on Briggs' Instagram.
He literally showed on camera. He was like, "These are the text messages," and Tyson Fury was like, "Yo, man, we got to make this fight. It's going to be the biggest build-up." So I think Briggs has prior engagements. I think Haye wants someone at Andy Joshua money. I think he's looking at.
It's not happening, is it?
Right, what? He knocks Bellew out in 2 rounds.
It's still
knocks him cold.
You got.
Eddie hurt the fast car. Eddie can't sell that fight.
Thing is, like, all right, cool. It is the case where he needs to be brilliant on the night against Bellew.
Yeah, if he's under stipulation.
Don't get me wrong. Like, a few years ago, I would have been all over that.
No, but he's brilliant on the night. He looks like the old Haye. Yeah, he rolls back the years.
Then, yeah, maybe.
And he knocks happy.
Why not?
Fast car, Eddie.
But again,
you're a whore club. You can't.
What I'm saying is, he needs to bring his A game. Otherwise, you know what?
Even if the only way I could see a potential fight with Joshua is literally if Joshua wants to have a filler fight before Wilder or Fury, and Joshua's just like, or not, I won't even say Joshua. His team is like, do you know what? We still need to build a bit more interest in Deontay Wilder. Take David Haye. He came off looking strong. Battle of the old, the wily veteran against the young, he's not so young, but then I think it's going to be like battle of generations. But that's if, like you said, Haye has to come on strong, and what would be the most important thing is if he does win, that post-fight speech has to like proper have a grab at people. Because
you know what? He's got
David Haye is the salesman.
No, I know, but
apples and pears.
You can't. when I say this, I mean, don't show an ounce of humility. You need to be. I want you right now. Not because you got to remember after the Bellew fight, it was just like, oh yeah, a rematch would be. I know, but he was still like, it was like, oh yeah, a rematch would be nice. And then I think that didn't go off well with a lot of fans because it was just like they see you in one light, and even if you lose, they're okay with seeing you in that light. But then when he came off like, oh yeah, a rematch would be nice. It's like, don't say a rematch would be nice.
I think he had to have a slice of humble pie.
I think he did the right thing because especially after Toegate. He took an L there, and then he started talking about how he only lost because of his little toe, and people just want to say like, look, the better man won the night, and hopefully I can get a rematch, and that I think that's the right thing to do in that situation. If you lose and take a humbling defeat and then try and talk smack up right after it, you're insane. You're punch drunk.
Listen,
Ray, like, what are your thoughts on the fight itself? Like, who do you see prevailing?
Do you know what? For some, I won't even say no strange reason because he's an experienced and very good boxer himself. I think Bellew's got it.
You think so?
I think that Father Time is undefeated with David Haye. It's not like freak injuries.
I don't know. Fought a draw against Bernard Hopkins.
Listen, Bernard Hopkins is an alien. But I think with Haye, it's just like, it's not a matter of freak injuries. It's a matter of, it's just time. It's like your body can't keep on going through the grinding process of camp.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I hear that. Yeah.
And with Bellew, because even he's getting older in age, but I think Bellew just has that little bit more in the tank left, and his body is kept up just that bit more to, when he gets to later rounds, it's just going to be the battle of who wants it more. And there comes a time where even if you want it more, your body's going to say, listen, you can't drive this. You can't drive this motor. No,
would you reckon like Bellew would be able to stop him?
I don't know whether we're about to stop him. The last few rounds might just be a war of let's see who gets dropped first.
Yeah,
it might just be swinging out, and it's just like both of them will be exhausted, and it might be like let's just see whose body holds up.
Yeah.
So if it is a battle of whose body holds up, I'm going with Bellew just because of less damage. But at the end of the day, Haye had the ability to knock anyone out. He's got the ability to touch Bellew, but if Bellew can avoid the power punches and can drain out Haye, then I think I think it'll be his fight. And people forget, this is potentially his retirement fight as well. So I think he's gonna go out there, put on a show, and he wants to draw a big crowd. So I think Bellew's gonna go in there, and I think he can get the win.
It's gonna be a hell of a night.
Yeah.
Like ever since Bellew moved up from lightweight to cruiserweight, he's had a lot of success. Do you think he can still carry that momentum forwards if he'll sustain a heavyweight division?
Define success. Who's he beat?
Oh, controversial.
Nathan Cleverly?
Makabu? Alright, so Makabu, what's he done since? He beat Masternak.
Flores.
He beat Flores. He beat Flores is a name.
Okay.
Not a particularly good fighter. He beat Masternak, probably the best fighter out of the ones he beat.
Yeah.
He ground to a 12-round decision. Cleverly was winning off the jab for 6 rounds, and then for some reason just kind of folded. And Bellew was able to get back into that fight and win that fight. So ultimately, I think Bellew's had some flattering nights as a cruiserweight. He's a good fighter. And he's done well as a cruiserweight. But there are some killers in that cruiserweight division. I was going to come on to my next question actually. So like in the World Boxing Super Series, so we've got the final coming up in the summer between Usyk and Gaziev. My question was like, how would Bellew do against either one of those top contenders? So Usyk has picked up notable wins against the likes of Margot Hart from Germany and Bradis. And then you got Gaziev, who's picked up wins against the likes of Lebedev. So had Bellew stayed in that division itself, how do you think he would have done? I recently watched in the World Series of Boxing, which is the kind of amateur, it's kind of a transitional tournament between being an amateur and being a pro. Yeah. There's 5 rounds, very similar rules to pro boxing. And Usyk actually contested as a heavyweight a super heavyweight in the amateurs, yeah. And he fought Joe Joyce, and he dominated Joe Joyce as an amateur, which was not that long ago, about 2 years ago. He completely outboxed him off the back foot, and then after Joe Joyce got tired, started coming forward trying to chase the fight, and then just started to beat him up systematically. And this is Joe Joyce, the 6'6" juggernaut destroyer.
And juggernaut, mate.
And this is a cruiserweight. and this is a cruiserweight that we're talking. Joe Joyce is a good fighter, very heavy-handed, very big, very strong, super heavyweight now. This guy's a cruiserweight.
Well, apparently he's looking to fight Leroy Thomas on the undercard of the Haye Bellew fight.
I love the fight. I think it's a fantastic fight. At this stage of their careers, I think this will be a real test. Leroy Thomas is a good fighter. He was. I think he was doing a little bit of a job on Dave Allen in the last fight. To be honest, Dave Allen, I do like Dave Allen, but
he's with Kenny Porter now, isn't he?
Kenny Porter, and he seems. I think he was one of those pros that he wasn't making enough money out of boxing strictly, so he had to maybe have a part-time job or do some personal training on the side. Yeah. But after winning the Commonwealth title, he's able to concentrate on it full time.
Yeah.
And I think you could see the improvement made in his last fight against David. Just one round, he looked a lot fitter, a lot shy on the scale.
Yeah, physically
looked a lot stronger.
It was awesome. Yeah.
So this is a big test, and I think that's one to watch out for on the undercard.
Definitely.
Leroy Thomas against the Juggernaut.
So Bellew, let's say he comes out on top. Where does he go?
See, this is the thing, because it's the way that he's spoken about, like, just the big paydays. I think if he can't get a big payday after this, he's gonna be done. Or
not a bad fight to retire him,
of course, yeah. Listen,
you are forgetting the trump card, Andre Ward.
Nah,
I
can't see.
Do you not see the last?
I've seen there, like, the highlight reel on Creed.
You know what I mean? Did you not see the Andre Ward's Twitter? He's weighing at 200 pounds now. He's ripped.
Serious.
He's 200 pounds. So you don't like that fight couldn't be sold to you.
No, it sold to me. Where would it take place?
All right. So who do you think would win that fight?
Andre Ward's.
Andre Ward's Tony Bellew. Moving up from my heavyweight.
Mate, Ward is brilliant.
Tony Berry's good as well, and also bigger.
Yeah, technically who's better? Who's more gifted?
Yeah, but Tony Berry's proven at the weight class though. I have been disparaging of Tony Berry, but he's won world titles and he's beaten good fighters. I was just saying, I was being hypercritical in saying that he's beaten good fighters, but I'm saying the elite level fighters that are in the World Super Series, he hasn't beaten those guys. But he's beaten good fighters at cruiserweight, and he's beaten. He's won a world title, which Andre Ward hasn't done. He's done that at light heavyweight and super middleweight. Moving up is a big jump from light heavyweight to cruiserweight. It's 25 pounds.
Isn't Ward younger than Bellew as well?
Yeah.
Ward isn't he?
33 and 31 maybe, something like that. Yeah. 33, 32.
Okay, so not too much.
So it's comparable.
It'll be a good fight,
it's comparable.
I think for Ward, for someone that didn't really get the big paychecks when he was fighting, I could see it happening on that side, but it's just a matter of where's Ward's motivation. If Ward is motivated to take that fight, I say make the fight. If not, I think Bellew's going to be semi-retired and he's only going to wait for fights that can intrigue him money-wise.
Yeah.
Because I think he's at that part of his career where it's just like, when you're young, you want all the belts and everything, but belts don't always equal money. So then now I think it's just more of, yes, it's nice to have the belts and everything, but you want that big money fight. And I can't see what big money fight is out there for Bellew. Other than maybe Ward, I haven't heard of that before.
Well, Tyson Fury, they obviously got a lot of history, but
I think
Fury's way too big for him.
Yeah, I think even Bellew said himself I don't think he wants to stay at heavyweight because he realised
they're all too big for him.
Yeah, well, he was calling Deontay Wilder at one point. I think it was a Klitschko fight where they were both working for Sky, and I think it was. Yeah, when he stood next to him and he just looked at him and thought, you know what? It's a massive difference.
I've got to say that was 1-0 in terms of the banter though. Tony Bellew absolutely bodied him. Absolutely bodied him.
You catch that on iPhone London.
Hold tight, Bellew, man. He held it down for the UK. He held it down for the UK. The US thought they can punk the UK guys, and the UK guys had to show him like,
Bellew's got a gift of the gab, and he does back it up, mate. He's been on a bit of a roll recently.
Yeah, I think he just wants this fight to hurry up and happen because it's been cancelled.
I was going to say he's in
once or twice.
What you were saying, Ray, about he's looking for that that money fight, and he's just he's been a servant to the game, and he probably deserves a money fight to sail off into the sunset with. I was going to say he's in that Bisping territory, wasn't there? That rumor that he was going to fight Bisping in the cage. So if there's no opponents in boxing, we can send him over the other side. Too surprised.
As an MMA guy, please. This has to stop now. All this MMA, UFC crossover. UFC guys, majority of UFC guys will get tucked in when it comes to boxing, and vice versa. If the boxing guys go into MMA, then listen, fish out of water. Please stop it now. I get it, McGregor and Mayweather, that is the anomaly. That is not the regular.
That's Ray talking. Dana Eddie, you can have my money any day of
the week. Listen, don't get me wrong.
Get a man caught in that cage. Comes in with that guillotine choke.
I like certain, as the term goes, I like certain freak shows every now and then, but sometimes it's like, we gotta stop entertaining this, man. If it's gonna happen, it's cause someone's contract ran out.
I don't like wildlife, but other than that,
all I'm saying is, listen, do you know what? I think Bisping Bellew can only happen if I know that Bisping's got one more fight in the UFC, then he's saying he's retiring for MMA. So maybe he might just be that big money fight and be like, listen,
what, in a boxing ring?
Listen, why not people be interested?
It's a Manchester Liverpool derby.
Exactly. Bisping's gonna play that whole thing of I'm Mancunian, even though I think he's not technically
but he's from LA now, is it?
It's not even that. I think Manchester's like the next biggest city to where he actually comes from. He's not. But listen, for marketing purposes, he's from Manchester, and if you do that, that Manchester against Liverpool, that's big money, and then. Especially the fact that Bisping's going to be like, I've done it in one sport and I can beat you in this sport. I think...
Don't get me wrong, I'll watch it.
That's a wild
the lead
idea.
Up to that fight will be hilarious.
Listen, Bisping, we've just given you promotion, so if you need people on your promotional team, give us a shout. Give us a shout.
We've mapped out the marketing campaign.
Your boys from East London, mate.
Listen, give us a shout, Bisping. I'm an MMA guy. I'm not, look, help me out.
So final question on Haye Bellew. So Haye at 37 years old picked up a new trainer for his camp. So it's a Cuban, Ismael Salas. What changes do you expect lead up to his fight?
None.
Yeah.
No, listen.
Jeez.
At this part of his, at this part of his career.
Jesus, that was brutal.
No. The reason I say that is this, At this part of your career, at this point, you need someone to help you either go through the phases or refine what you already got.
Yeah.
I can't see a big change being done at this stage.
See, when he left Shane McGuigan, I would have thought, okay, he's going back to Adam Booth.
Yeah.
Bit shocked by this one, but, Ismael Salas, he's done a fantastic job with Linares. Don't know.
To give a breakdown from a boxing standpoint, a bit more technical, in terms of McGuigan gets his fighters to sort of box and counter and take the power out and go for speed shots and box over a longer period, as you've seen with George Groves. George Groves used to be a knockout artist, an aggressive counter puncher, whereas now he's more of a counter puncher off the back foot. And that's what he tried to make David Haye do, which was never really David Haye's game. Okay, David Haye is an aggressive counter puncher, meaning that he takes the centre of the ring and he looks to counter your shots from the centre of the ring.
Yeah.
I feel that Ismael Salas is going to try and return to the old David Haye, come out straight away, look for the right hand straight away, look for the big leaping hook, okay, and look to get the opponent out there early, okay, and have the understanding this isn't going to be a 12-round fight. Whereas McGuigan was training him for a 12-round fight, and I just feel like there was a bit of clash of interest there, and I feel like the styles was a bit of a gel. I think David Haye will be best served going back to that idea of I knock people out. I train for 6-round fights. I'm explosive. I knock you out.
Exactly. It seems like a long time ago where David Haye was one of the most avoided fighters in the heavyweight division.
Yeah. I think, like I said, it's just more of refining what he has, because it reminds me of, and this is one of my favourite fighters ever, but it reminds me of Miguel Cotto. Remember when Miguel first left, was his uncle that was his trainer, and then he went through the phase
Freddie
of
Roach,
and then he ended with Freddie, but in between that he went through
He had
different
that
trainers. Emmanuel Stewart. Then he had Miguel. No, what's his name?
Joel. I can't remember his name. The Cuban who trained for the Mayweather fight.
Yeah,
he was the trainer of the Cuban amateur team.
Yeah.
And again, he done quite a good job with him against Mayweather. He put up a good fight against Mayweather. Yeah. One of the better fights against Mayweather. And I get exactly what you mean. There's certain things at that point of his career, Cotto's career. You can't. He was world class, and he was world class for a reason. And if you come along and try and start training and refine and try and taking things away from his game and say, I always thought you should have fought like this, I don't think it's effective. And I think David Haye the same. I think David Haye, they need to get him back to looking for what made David Haye David Haye: explosive power, athleticism, and knocking people out, landing that right hand. And if he comes out there throwing that right hand sharp, accurate, and powerful against Tony Bellew, Tony Bellew's going to have some problems. But if Tony Bellew can outride that for 6 rounds, get through 6 rounds of hell, then it becomes a very different fight. So that's why this fight is so interesting.
Let's call it. Hey, Bellew, Steve.
I would have liked this podcast to happen a little bit later, so I could see the videos of them training, hitting pads, doing the open workouts, and things like that. A little bit more exposure. But I like what David Haye is saying, and I've got faith in David Haye. I'm a big fan of David Haye, and I'm gonna say David Haye with a stoppage.
Cool. Do you want to call a round?
I'm gonna call it round, but I'll say inside 6. Go on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. The David Haye fanboy in me is coming out. David Haye fanboy. Go on.
Ray.
I say within 6 rounds. I agree with Haye. If it goes beyond 6, Bellew's your guy.
Yeah, I think that would be my calling of the fight. But if I had to call one, if I was preferring one, then I would say... And also, just for the sake of boxing, and I think David Haye would have some interesting fights down the road, so I'd like David Haye to win.
And let me tell you one more thing to add to that. If a decision, definitely Bellew as well. That's what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
What about yourself, guys?
I'm going for Haye. I think inside 8 rounds, it's going to be a stoppage. But on to what Ray said. If it goes to points, then you got Bellew by quite a margin.
More importantly, what hairstyle do you think David Haye is going to have on the night?
Should have the afro out, mate.
You have the afro out? I think he falls better with the cornrows, so I think we'll go with the cornrows.
Or people just want old David Haye back, just knocking guys out. That's the most important. So,
good luck to both fighters. It should be a hell of a fight. Can't wait for it.
Definitely.
So boys, our next talking subject, we're going to be chatting about Canelo Alvarez. So, meet scandal. And so he got a 6-month ban, no fine. To me, that's a slap in the wrist. What do you boys think?
What I don't get is, when did Canelo last fight? When was his last fight? How long ago was that?
Against Golovkin in September.
Was that more or less than 6 months ago?
Yeah.
So by banning him for 6 months, you're saying that that's less than you would typically have between 2 fights for any boxer, really.
That's pretty much a camp.
That's just a camp. Like fighters will have 3 months off.
Mate, he pretty much can get ready for a fight later this year.
Fighters will have 1 fight per year, typically.
Yeah.
Very rare. So 2 fights a year is quite rare for an elite level boxer. You need time to build these fights. You need time to sort of arrange the camp. So for him to just get 6 months,
it's a joke.
It's just he can start training again within 3 months,
pretty much,
and then arrange the fight for September. That's what would have happened anyway. So I don't get how this is acceptable.
It's a bunch of bollocks.
Shout out to Golden Boy, because the PR that they've done there is very good. No, the reason I say that is this. For some reason, Canelo has not come out looking like the bad guy. Most people that get clocked for doing PEDs is like there's a bit form of shame. With Canelo, they've made him seem like the victim of the meat. And I'm not gonna say whether Canelo was on the stuff or not. But what I will say is this: they've made it look like Canelo is the victim in all of this.
I think
what are they gonna have to?
No, but I'm saying salute to the PR team. No, because there's your PR team telling people, and then there's people being sympathetic towards it.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that seem to empathise with Canelo right now. Maybe that's because that's a show of his greatness.
I think in boxing that you always need to consider that there's 2 types of fan. There's the hardcore fan, and then there's what people sort of deem detrimentally as the casual fan.
Yeah.
And I think they've won the battle of the casual fan, which is what you need to make money. So they've got the casual fans believing that
he's the victim.
That he was the victim of some sort of meat scandal. But I think if you're reading the forums and you're reading the comments on the videos and things like that, you're seeing that the hardcore fan is just, this is ridiculous.
You guys managed to catch Paulie Malignaggi?
I did, yeah, and I think he gave a really good assessment. Clive, do you want to say what he said?
Go for it.
Well, basically, I'm just going to say what he thought should have happened, and I thought that was a really good idea. That he was
him being constantly tested.
That he's saying, look, give him a 6-month ban. In that 6-month ban, he gets very stringently tested, and then when he comes back, he has 2 years of stringent testing for all, not for all his fights, but just throughout 2 years of stringent testing.
No need to deny it.
Yeah, and if so, 24/7, 365 VADA testing, and if he's still performing and he's still doing well, then all is good. 2 years comes to an end, and he can go back to doing his thing. But if he fails a test during that time, then he gets banned for 3 years out of the ring. And I think
why I love Paulie.
And I think that would have been. I think that would have hit the nail on the head, because then we would have seen the difference from that actual proper testing, stringent testing. We would have seen the difference between his performances, and then we could have made an assessment. But like Paulie said, it's like this game comes down to money, and they're trying to hide the fact that.
I was gonna say, in the ideal in sporting world, because I'm sure Paulie's coming from a perspective of a sportsman, you would want that, but in the money side of things, that's the cash cow.
Yeah.
That is.
He is.
Well, he's golden. You know, he's
golden boy. Golden boy.
Yeah,
he's the golden boy. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
He's a face of Mexican boxing. Pretty much.
That's big boy money.
Yeah.
So I think 6 months they're looking. I'm sure Golden Boy are looking at it like, cool, that's wonderful. We'll do our PR to make sure that Canelo comes off looking like the victim, for lack of a better term. And then I think he's gonna come back, and he's so great that people, the casuals anyway, they don't care as much, because especially the fact that if you don't get caught out for a more bigger, like, well-known PED, people don't. What's the name of his PED he's been clocked for?
He got caught for clenbuterol, which is quite a big one, to be fair.
But
small traces.
But I'm saying, the casual fan is not trying to hear that.
They don't. Unless it's
anabolic,
testosterone.
Unless it's anabolic
steroids.
Testosterone, unless it's that. Then that's when they're like, no, he's a wrong one. When it's like stuff that you don't hear every day, they're just going to be like, well, when's his next fight?
Like Britain's very own Kid Galahad got caught for the same stuff, and he got banned for 2.5 years. So.
There you go, mate. There you go.
poor old Barry.
What did Nick Diaz in the UFC? Was it marijuana?
Oh, no. Nick Diaz one was different because...
Don't get started.
Listen, free Nick Diaz. No, but his one was different only because... Obviously, he's had his previous run-in with athletic commissions, and he even told them, like, I will smoke marijuana and I'll still pass your test. So he made a mockery out of them, but we digress.
We digress. Well, if you were Golovkin, there's a lot of money on the table for fighting Canelo. Yeah. But you're aware that he is potentially, in any fight you have with him now, he's going to be a drugs cheat. Yeah. There's always that possibility because he's done it before. So you don't know if he'll ever be clean. Yeah. What I ask is, if you were Golovkin, do you think he should take the money with the high risk, or go a different route for a fairer fight?
I'll say go for the fight. As in, with that first fight, Canelo could have been on the stuff back then,
and he still took him to the.
Yeah, he took it to him, and I thought Golovkin won that fight.
Yeah.
So Golovkin's probably thinking, listen, this is a big money fight. What? He's coming to his late 30s. He's coming to the end of his career. Yeah, why not? I think cash out.
Yeah, I think it works in the favour of Golovkin, because now he was probably the B side in this, and now he can be like, well, you better up the ante.
He's got a lot more on the negotiation side.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, it's a win for natural boxing. So any boxers who are thinking about doing it, look at what's happened there. You got a clean fighter who against a proven. Dirty fight. He was dirty for this one. So I think it's fair to assume he was probably on it for his previous fight. And how much difference did it make? You struggled and arguably lost. So let's just keep the sport clean.
But who knows, how long he's been taking this stuff for? Could have been for a good couple of years. But hey ho, never know, to be honest.
Poor Amir Khan, that digestive chin of his.
Raymond was not part of that laugh.
Amir, we're rooting for you tonight. All the best for Amir Khan tonight.
We need that all British fight.
The fight's tonight, so by the time this comes out, we won't have watched it. But the result will be out. Did you guys see him on the at the weigh-in?
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm excited for this fight, and we'll see.
Did you think that he's looked better on the scales in different fights?
I really did.
I haven't read anything about the fight. I haven't seen anything about it. I've just checked out.
At 31 years old, it's been over 2 years. We just have to see.
I thought he looked a little bit fleshy. I don't know. Maybe it's like the American weigh-ins, the lights. Maybe I don't know. It just seemed a little bit.
All I want out of this is he gets the win, a convincing win.
I got money on Amir Khan,
and then. I don't know if I got money on him, but I'm rooting for him.
I'm not putting my house on it.
This is what we need. We need a convincing win, and we need that post-fight interview. We need you to have a strong call out of Kell Brook.
You love a post-fight interview, Ray.
No, but that's what sells the fights. That is what sells the fight. You don't. You know what it is?
Secret Conor McGregor fan over him.
No, listen. More like Habib Nurmagomedov, but let's not go there.
I'm loving the pronunciation.
Listen. All I'm saying is this. After the fight, we need to make sure that we get this Kell Brook fight, because I'm sick and tired of... They're both now under Matchroom. You both know now that you'll get paid. So just make the fight. Kell Brook had a good fight his last bout out. If Khan gets this fight, I think they can still convince the British public that this is the fight that you want to see.
Would Kell Brook be your number one pick for Amir Khan, or would Danny Garcia maybe pick post?
Nah.
Kell Brook.
Kell Brook?
Yeah.
Kell Brook?
Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see the Danny Garcia rematch, but I still think domestically it's a massive fight in the UK. If it's to fight Kell Brook.
It's a huge fight.
But
Danny Garcia in the UK though.
Would he come to the UK? I don't know.
He probably wouldn't come. If it was Danny Garcia in America,
yeah,
and Kell Brook in the UK, I'm definitely picking Kell Brook in the UK. But getting Danny Garcia over here to fight Khan, sort of, if you get Wembley Stadium, maybe you could do it. Khan,
if it was undercard of a Joshua fight.
Yeah.
Then I'll be all over that.
Or even I think just now with them both being on the Matchroom, I'm sure Eddie Hearn is just like, look, the logistics for this is so much easier than going to America, dealing with, I don't know how his relationship is with Al Heyman, but he can be like, listen, you've got Khan under me, you've got Kell Brook under me. Let's make it happen.
One last thing. Have you heard of the Eddie Hearn in the interviews this week has been saying that he's got big news coming in 3 weeks, that he said he's going to leave other boxing promoters mourning in the UK, and he's literally going to body the game. What do you think that could be?
I'm not. Do you think is a signing, or do you think he's going to put on like a Matchroom tournament?
I think it could be he's going to name himself as the number one promoter for Showtime.
Ooh.
Because then all the dates. Wouldn't that body the game?
Yeah, no, I think that. And then also, you got to remember, he's trying to break into America with Danny Jacobs.
Well, he's got Danny Jacobs.
That's a very good
so bringing Andy Joshua,
yeah.
bringing Danny Jacobs. I think he's got an affiliation with
Has he got
Big
Miller?
He's got an affiliation with Big Miller, so he's got him on a fight-by-fight basis.
Oh, shit.
So that is what could be being announced. So something big like that is on the horizon. So that is an exciting time.
So when's he announcing this?
He said 3 weeks.
Okay, cool.
He's probably finalising the deal. He's also.
I think it's fine. I think it's already done. I think this is what's going on.
Yeah,
he's got the American thing coming up. So there's something big on the horizon. I think it's bigger than a signing. I think this is.
Well, Matchroom definitely on the map. UK, we're killing it. It's fantastic.
100%. Tonight alone, we've got Amir Khan going up against Frampton on 2 separate bills on 2 different channels.
It's nuts, isn't it? It's nuts.
Mind is blown. I never thought I'd see boxing at this level.
Well, that's our motive tonight, right? Got like shitloads of boxing in. You got Broner, Vargas, you got Charlo.
Yeah,
mate.
And then you got fights announced. Just Pacquiao against Matisse, just constantly announced. It's a good time to be a boxing fan. And it's good times.
But listen, let's wrap this up. Amir Khan, all the best. Frampton, you got this. And do check out our future videos in the future. Take care. Peace out, people.
Tune in.
Thanks for listening.